There we go. We're recording now. I think we're learning the controls here, folks. Hey, welcome to Citizen Watch, another edition of Citizen Watch, Tuesday, April 10th. Or no, today's Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
Forget it.
April 10th. You have to excuse me, folks, but as you can tell by my voice, Casey Steed, we're back in studio, back in beautiful Studio C with Robert, the Velvet Sledgehammer Tomasetti. Bought me a cup of coffee this morning. I really appreciate that, Robert. Very, very nice of him. And, of course, the best engineer in the business who's keeping a keen eye on what I'm doing, Steve Colvard.
There's not much to it, though, is it, Case?
Sitting on the other side of the board.
So what are you saying? That
you hit record and you hit stop.
I'll tell you. This
complicated.
This technology is really neat. Going to try to learn some new things here, folks. And, again, welcome to Studio C. I've really missed this place. And you know what I've missed more is you two guys. I know that we have a big radio family here at KYOS. We have a lot of great programming. I know a lot of people know about it. I'm not going to go over it ad nauseum, but you two are my best friends, and I really, really appreciate everything you've done while I've been away. And
did you get those crop circles in your yard?
Yeah, well, let me tell you, my yard is out of control. There's been some rain, there's been some heat, and I think I could bale hay out there. But I do have some lawn maintenance to do, but I really appreciate you guys putting up with me being out of studio the last couple of months. And,
well, you're a huge part of the show, brother. Without you, we wouldn't go.
Well, no, I think we're all equal in that regards.
I'm getting teary, misty-eyed.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're all equals, but you're certainly
Oh, come on. Okay.
Yeah, but
enough.
I really
Colvard's over here hugging.
Robert's in love, man.
I'm really
not in love.
Robert's in love. He's got a glow about him.
Yeah, I'm reading Cancer horoscope.
I want to hear about her, dude. Who is this chick? He's got some girl. He's got his eyes
one on the hook. I don't know if that's
tell
a
me
meat
who
in
it
his
is.
basement.
You guys are making a big deal out of nothing.
He's got his polo shirt on today.
Oh, yeah.
You guys looking smooth.
You should have seen him at the bank making time with the tellers. I'll tell you.
What tellers? With the big guy, Adam Stone?
West America, great bank over there. You know, folks, I have to go back again to our
Ohio
April 1st show, April Fool's Day. I'm still getting feedback from that. I got a call yesterday from Phil Raniero, owner of Raniero's fine Italian eatery down there on Main Street.
See, your information is incorrect.
Well,
you come back
he's
one day.
Part owner, what?
He's part what? He's the cook.
He's the cook.
We love Phil, but it's Miller's Raniero, and Steve Miller is
the
point man, and
point
Phil
man
is
the
my
chowder king.
Kudos to Phil.
Yeah.
You like that place, don't you?
I like the chowder's killer, but it's like authentic home cooking. I mean, you go there and you order something, and it really feels like you just made it out in your backyard. And I know I'm oversimplifying.
You make your pasta sauce in your backyard?
Well, I usually get a burger. I had I was there. I had a sausage sandwich, and it's just I mean, it feels like it just came off the grill.
And Steve thinks that the service is wonderful because there's a couple of nice young ladies that are very good at what they do. Well, I'm very impressed when I go. I like to go.
We really like Raniero's, and we like to support them wherever we can. I know Robert.
So what was Phil's beef with you?
Well, he's
beef.
he akined our April 1st show to War of the Worlds with Orson Welles. And if folks don't remember, that was a show,
1938
show way back when that they pretended that there was an invasion from outer space, and it was a complete farcical show, and people actually thought it was real.
Yep.
And it got a lot of response. Well, Phil thought that our April 1st show, where we teased about being that our last show, that was the last Citizen Watch you would hear, he said, I hope that's not true. He goes, I've been listening. They sound like new shows. And yes, they have been new shows since April 1st. And I just want to let people know that we're not going anywhere unless management has a different idea. But we plan on being around. And I appreciate Phil's support and all the listeners out there that are hearing our voice right now. We couldn't do it without you. We've had tremendous response. Again, if you want to listen to us on YouTube, you just go to the
You know what I hope? I hope that we've been able to develop a relationship with our listeners so that they know our characters a little bit. And, everybody has good and bad days, and people feel more strong about things. But, I think every once in a while, from a personal standpoint, I get caught up in things, and I get discouraged I think sometimes, and I want people to know I'm not a negative person.
No.
I'm really not. I'm optimistic. I love the community. I want to see what's best for it, but sometimes I get frustrated, and you hear my frustration. I want you to know, like any other family member you have, sometimes I have bad days, sometimes I have good days, and overall, I just want you to know that, I care, I respect the listener, and I'm just trying to do what I think is best.
It's like a conversation around the kitchen table with your best friends. And like I say, these two guys in here, Robert and Steve, are my best friends, both on and off the air.
How come you didn't take us to dinner when you got back in town?
Because I got back really late last night. I tell you, pushing that car north was all I could do. I was down in Southern California on a little whale watching expedition and taking care of some business down there in SoCal. And coming through L.A., you just realize, one, what a beautiful state California is, but how lucky we are to be in Merced and some of the...
I was just going to ask you, how in the world do you go through L.A. thinking that's beautiful?
Well, I should clarify that. I see what L.A. is like and what they have to... Oh, it's
crowded. Wait.
Tremendous.
When you go to New York, when you go to San Francisco, and you go to Chicago, it says big city. Mm-hmm. And what you get and what you have is you have these towering buildings that you look at, brass glass.
Like a metropolis.
You look at architecture in San Francisco. You look at L.A. and they got 6 buildings at 30 feet and that's it.
Yeah, well...
I mean, their downtown is a joke. How do you put 4 million people in that little...
And you don't. And when you're sitting there on the freeway going, a half a mile an hour for 3 hours...
You can walk faster.
Yeah, you realize...
How people put up with that,
how lucky we are to be in Merced. But, I just have to make a few observations since I've been back. And the new freeway south of town...
Does that look nice?
Yeah, that is really nice. That thing is wide enough for John Pedroza. Let me tell you, that is like driving down the Castle runway over there.
But you know what? It's got heavy load. When he comes out of his driveway out off of Thrift on Lingard, and and we tease John in. Yeah. John is looking very svelte.
Yeah, John is. He lost 30 elbows.
I saw the county supervisors had that appreciation lunch or whatever you want to say.
It's volunteer week.
Volunteer week, exactly. And unfortunately, we didn't get nominated.
How in the world? I was reading some of those people who won, and I'm thinking, really?
Yeah.
Aren't some of those jobs paid jobs?
Well, it is volunteer week, and that's one of the reasons I was down in San Diego. People know that I'm a reserve police officer with the city of San Diego. I've been for 33 years, and we had a...
so he's older than he says he is, and
we had a party down in Balboa Park at the Balboa Park Club, or Balboa Club rather, and
Street Pig.
Great location. If anybody's ever been to Balboa Park in San Diego, it was built basically for the 1919 Exposition, Panama Exposition. I may be getting the year wrong, but it's when they opened the Panama Canal, and a lot of cute, really neat architecture down there. Anyway, they had all the volunteers for the city of San Diego were there, crisis intervention, the reserves. Our chief spoke a little bit. We have a new chief of police, Shelley Zimmerman, who's taking over for a department that's truly in turmoil. We've had a lot of issues with a couple of officers, and of course, like anything else, one apple spoils the whole bunch. And so she's trying to make some changes over there, but it was a recognition for the volunteers, and I just want to put out a shout for all of the volunteers all across America, because it is Volunteer Week.
And that brings us to the volunteers on Love Inc. I'm not Love Inc. on Love Merced. Did you see that in the paper, guys?
Twice as many people.
What a beautiful fundraiser, however you want to call it, event that was, where they beautified Merced, and instead of getting just 600 people, they had over 1,300 people that wanted to do something. And it just shows how Merced really is such a cool town where people want to get together and do something good.
Yeah, it is. It was great to see everything greened up, even though my lawn looks like a jungle.
I could have sent them over to your house.
Yeah, well,
Monica was on vacation.
That was funny. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit. But anyway, coming in from the south of town there, that new freeway, that new stretch of road is done, and it's just beautiful. I'd love to see him build more of that than this HSR debacle. But
you know what I did on that? I got to tell you, what'd you think of driving across that?
The freeway?
Yeah.
It was great. It was smooth as glass.
Smooth as glass, 3 lanes wide.
Yeah. No,
I was coming back from Las Vegas, and I'm coming from Fresno, and here, this is a true story. This hottie in this little red car, it was a Jetta, and she comes zipping past me, and I'm like, I don't think so. And she waves.
You have a Jetta too, don't you?
Yeah, we were jetting it. We were going, I'm going to tell you this, true story, 105 miles an hour.
What?
Going past. Oh, man, that was like glass.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, this is cool.
You better. That was
the Autobahn.
An alleged reached 105, folks.
No, it was 105, and it was the Merced Autobahn, the John Pedroso stretch of freeway.
Yeah.
I noticed that they had, extra thick concrete.
You said it, not me. Hey,
I know.
One of the other things I
love you,
noticed, maybe a little detraction, is when are they going to finish the Bradley overpass?
That is becoming a career for some people.
I think that construction workers
You know what
starting
they
on that
tell
are
me?
now getting their retirement checks.
You know what they always say? They say, "Oh, you know what the problem is when you're going over railroad tracks." I'm like, "Wait a minute, time out."
Railroad? Oh,
okay,
wow.
You're going over railroad tracks. Well, yeah, go over railroad tracks. You got to be very, very safe, and there's all these laws. And I said, "Didn't the Highway 99 over there by Nagami's restaurant on the 16th Street entrance to the north, that went over railroad
Yes,
tracks?"
it did.
Okay, you're going over here in the south of
And it's
Merced.
a much bigger project.
That was a freeway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
how many different trestles did they have to fix
Yeah.
to do that stretch of highway? And these people are like,
There's always an excuse.
yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, Bradley Overpass, folks, I don't know what the heck's going on over there with these folks. I don't know if they're union, if they're trying to get
They ran out of money.
Something's wrong. There's something wrong with that project. I don't know what it is, but
Why don't we find out?
MCAG. That's where you need to go.
talk about taking time. I also see that because of the drought, they renamed Sandy Mush Road Hard Pan Lane.
Yes, they
That's a little
did.
bit of a joke,
We get it, Case.
And then the cost of gas. I have to tell you, as soon as I crossed the border out of Needless, California, of course, I went the southern route. I took a ride at Albuquerque and went down through Flagstaff, through Phoenix, came across Yuma. But the last
Why did you take a southern route?
because I was going to San Diego, and it's actually
Faster?
Faster to go turn south at Flagstaff, go down to Phoenix, cut across to Yuma. It's about 150 miles shorter for people taking that route. But the cost of gas, folks, what is going on with California? I leave Oklahoma, I go through New Mexico, I go through Arizona, $3.17 a gallon, $3.19 a gallon, $3.25 a gallon. You get to California,
$3.95.
$3.95 if you can find it.
Are they using it? Are they using the summer blend excuse that they have to blend
I
it
don't
to
know what the
refineries?
heck they're.
My theory is this:
Every time there's an emergency.
in the state of California and nationwide, more or less, they've promoted this. These electric cars, these
Right.
gas-saving cars,
Green energy.
So people are using much less fuel. Well, what's that result in? Much less tax. Because I think, what'd you say, 70 cents of every gallon of gas that you pump
50
is,
something to
It's
70.
I think it's 56 cents is taxes.
Yeah. So they've lost all that revenue because people are driving more fuel-efficient cars. So what do you have to do?
You have to raise
You
the
have to
taxes.
jack up the price.
Well,
it's
I'll
another
tell you.
form of
Aren't they
taxation.
surcharge? Here's
And that's
an
what
idea.
I keep warning people about.
Yeah.
They have to feed the beast. They have to feed the beast, and they're going to find some way to do it.
Yeah,
They have to, or they die off.
There was some cheap gas in Fresno. You can get it for
Yeah, I saw the 346.
No, I thought. Well, I didn't
Did you
see
find-
that.
was that
I saw
76 station?
371 over there on the.
346 at the 76 station on Herndon Avenue was 346. And I almost
You know what you can also do is shoot up the road to
Turlock.
Atwater.
Turlock, Stanislaus County.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
You
first
get off
Arco
there,
station.
Isn't that funny?
you know what Almond Tree Restaurant is right,
Right,
there?
first-
I know
There's
exactly
an
what you're
AM
talking
PM
about.
station right by
Arco.
that Jack in the Box. They're 25 cents a gallon cheaper.
Yep.
Well, I don't know what it is about California. I guess I've heard it called the sunshine factor, but boy, it's sure getting into my wallet. But that's just a few
It's the tax
observations
factor,
I
Casey.
saw.
It's the tax factor.
Coming
You have
in-
to find revenue in this state to keep it alive.
Yeah, talking about volunteer week real quick before we get to our first break. I'm trying to juggle 14 balls here. I see how hard Steve's job is, folks. You got to watch the clock, the board,
we'll
the
give you
mic
a heads
levels.
up.
But they were talking about volunteers week, and Tony Slaton, who we've wanted to get in here, and I know Tony's promised to come in. He's just trying to coordinate it. He runs the Boys and Girls Club over
I
there.
don't think I can have him and you at the same room.
I'll tell you what.
This is kind of cramped quarters to begin
I'm
with.
glad we're
Yeah,
on
we
a
have
single
a-
story. He's a big man. He's a big
He
man.
played football.
He has a big heart.
Can you
And-
imagine Casey and him together on
No,
offensive
I got
football?
one. How about this?
On the offensive
No,
line of a football
How about
team?
this site?
Boy, God
I'll
dang,
bet
I'd love
you.
to be a running back behind
Wait,
those two.
I know what you're going to say.
I'll bet you that if you put Casey at the board, and on one side of the table you have John Pedroso, and on the other side of the table you have Tony Slaton.
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be a tilt in Merced.
Yeah, I think the wall.
And we tease John, but it is good that he's losing weight.
No,
And,
it is.
He had a little bit of a health scare, and it woke him up, and so now he's got to stop eating that junk.
And John, I'll tell you, I need to join you. I wish I could lose 30 pounds. I think I found the 30 you lost, buddy, because it's hard.
I was
Hard to
actually
put
say
that
you look
fork
like you
down.
lost weight.
Yeah,
well,
but
I
he
have
didn't.
lost a little
Will
weight.
you hug him? The fingers don't go tip to tip anymore.
Yeah.
Now they're like there's a space.
Yeah, I've got one extra notch in the belt.
Well,
but anyway, Tony Slaton, just because we're coming up on our first break here, and I just wanted to throw a shout out. You talk about a volunteer, and you talk about somebody who's given his heart, literally, and he has a big heart. He loves those kids down at the Boys and Girls Club. He presented his quarterly report to the city council, and they have over 2,200 visits over there. They paid all their bills. He made sure to talk about that. They paid all their bills, and they're coming up this month on April 25th. They have their fundraising gala. They're celebrating 20 years of service to the Merced community. Now, we've been pretty hard on Tim Conway. Excuse me, that's a comedian. Mike Conway's not that funny. Yeah, we're pretty hard on Mike Conway over there at Parks and Rec for not knowing what to do with $25,000. But let me tell you, Tony Slaton, he knows what to do. He talked about a program they have over there called Pro Learning, where they help kids with their homework after work and stuff like after school. And I can't say enough about the Boys and Girls Club. They're having their fundraiser the 25th of this month, 20 years of service. It's going to be a dinner. Doors open at 6 o'clock. The dinner's at 7. And the 25th is a Friday, folks. I was just looking at the calendar behind me. So we're going to go to our first break here on Citizen Watch,
Case.
AM 1480, KYOS. Yes, Robert?
When we come back, I have a little game I think I want to play.
Okay, well, Robert, we will do that. And folks, stand by.
Wasn't paying attention. I was playing on my laptop.
Never paying attention.
Hey, why don't you
here we are, folks. What?
Why don't you do that? Redo this.
No, it's good. People
Welcome
like to
back.
hear.
Welcome back.
We were having a conversation about something.
Welcome back, folks, to Citizen Watch, second segment on Thursday, April 10th. I finally got the days right. You know, it's fun to be back here in Studio C with mi amigos. I brought him some Fresa con Crema. Robert brought me a coffee this morning. It's just really nice to be back in studio. You know, we were talking a little bit about the Boys and Girls Club. One of the things that's going on in Merced right now is the budget prioritizing session. One of the last sessions is April 19th down there at City Hall in the Sandpipes room. Starts at 7 o'clock. They've had a lot of conversation about allotting more money to youth. And, of course, Tony, he could use all the money he can get. We, again, encourage people to go to his fundraising gala on the 25th of this month. But I think Robert had a comment about paying attention. And I don't know if Robert's paying attention.
Well, can I backtrack a second? And the reason I brought this up during the commercial break was Robert and I were down at the local athletic club earlier this week, and I had walked out to the back of the facility with Cactus. We were playing racquetball, and Robert was engaged in a conversation with a couple, I would say 14, 15-year-old boys.
Yeah, they work with Tony Slaton at the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, I mean, I'd walked over to the swimming pool where they were having this conversation, and I heard Robert say to the boys, tell Steve what you just told me. And they basically conveyed to me that they had gone to the city council chambers to give a kind of a presentation on behalf of the Boys and Girls Club and felt like they were being ignored by some people sitting up there on the
dais.
At the dais. Mm-hmm. And that's that. And so, you know what I did, and you can vouch for this, Robert, is it was
I don't know what you're talking about.
I hate hearing things like that. I hate right. So I just turned around and I said, on behalf of the citizens of this city, I apologize to you young men for being disrespected like that. That should never happen. Well, and I exited the conversation because I didn't want to get frustrated. And those are those diatribes I go on when you hear me on the radio. Yes. That lack of respect, that again, that dynamic that we work for them and we should be honored. We should be honored by their time.
Let's look at it this way, guys. We have a hard time getting children, and I call children anybody under 18.
Right.
We have a hard time with children getting them to pay attention and get involved and do the right thing. And when they want to, they go to a meeting. Now, I've seen this several times. I've gone to several Merced Union High School meetings where I've watched two gentlemen.
Yeah.
One is on his computer. Mm-hmm. And the other is writing notes and looking at notepads and back and forth while people are talking and making presentations. Now, the gentleman said the two guys that I had a problem with were, first of all, was Noah Lohr. He was like looking out yonder. And I thought, well, maybe Lohr Mr. Lure, had a hard time understanding what the kids were talking about, or maybe he already knew what the information was. I don't know his reasoning. But I do notice that John Bramble plays on his laptop.
I noticed that too.
And I don't mean play. I mean trying to do something else. And I have a friend of mine that tells me that there is no such thing as multitasking.
Very hard to do.
And to use that as, how can you pay attention to what the kids are trying to say when you're sitting there thinking of other things, of what to say while you're on your laptop? Yeah. Now, I know, Mr. Bramble, you have a full plate ahead of you, but why don't you do that when you're at lunch in your office, when you're sitting back reading and eating your sandwich? Why don't you double task that?
And to me, what does it say to the young men that are there trying to participate in their government when the city manager is showing them no respect?
And the same thing is when I went to the Merced Union High School District, and you had CSEA was trying to fight for some negotiating position, and you've got Vinny. And he's Vinny to me. Sorry, guys. Okay,
Superintendent Scambray.
You're going to get your butt whooped.
Vinny Scambray's over there taking notes and looking. And then he looks up over his glasses like he's really paying attention. Then on the other side, you have Leonard Kahn that's too busy looking at emails and stuff. And I'm thinking, what are you paying attention to?
Reinvesting
but again, I want to make this point.
It's rude.
If you are in attendance at something like that, and your purpose being there does not necessarily mean that you have to listen to the speakers, because it's not going to. You're not there in a decision-making capacity. You're there maybe as a recorder or something like that. And the reason I say that is I think sometimes in this very studio, I'm recording conversations between individuals, and my job is to make sure that the audio is correct and the product is produced. It's not necessarily my job to partake in the conversation or be part of the conversation in order for something to come out of it. So I'm not defending anybody. I can tell you that from a perspective of our city manager, when you have two young men from the community take the time and to put a presentation together and come in and show you the respect, and you decide not to show them respect back, I have a serious problem with that.
Oh, I do too. And I think you're right on point, both of you, because I've noticed that with Mr. Bramble. He came to us from Bell, California. Of course, we all heard the problems.
They're all in jail.
Bell had.
Except for him.
It was before his time. Before his time. Let's give him credit. But at the same time, I've noticed he's very aloof. I've noticed I noticed that he's disengaged.
Were you distracted?
Boy, I'll tell you, there was some beautiful scenery going by the window just now. And I'm not talking about the foliage, folks.
Case, I know.
The birds and the bees. It's spring, isn't it, Steve?
In that situation, it was Mr. Bramble. But when I go to the Merced Union High School District, Dora Crane, who's on the board, listens intently. You know, they're talking, she's looking. Tammy Quesadillas, who's, I don't know what her job is over there, she's intent. But the two guys on the end, you know, that are supposed to make the decision, the CBO and the superintendent of schools are too busy doing other things to listen to what's going on.
It's like they could phone it in. And like I say, Mr. Bramble, you could just pay a little bit of attention, you know, humor the kids a little bit. You know, they're concerned about the budget. It went from $3 million a few years ago down to $1 million. And they want their share. They want to see it increase.
Now it's $700,000, isn't it?
Well, they want to see more youth services. We don't know what the final budget's going to be.
And that comes through the Park and Recs department?
Well, basically youth services, Parks and Rec.
Question.
I mean, there's obviously other things.
Let me ask you a dumb question.
No question is dumb.
Who's the Parks and Recs director?
Well, that would be Mr. Conway, who we've been pretty critical.
What is Mr. Conway's
compensation package?
No. What is Mr. Conway's background in Parks and Rec?
When he was appointed Parks and Rec, he said, well, I have some kids that I've taken to the park. That was his whole qualification. He used to be the PIO, the Public Information Officer.
But what
we couldn't afford that.
But what does he do? What did he do before he got to the city? He wrote for the newspaper.
Yeah.
What the hell does this guy know about putting any kind of budget together?
Well, I'll talk about Mr. Jensen in a little bit, too. He stood up before the city council meeting. Mike Jensen over at...
is that the other guy that making $100,000 a year?
MID?
I'll tell you what, folks. You go from throwing papers on the doorstep to making six figures. I tell you,
did you notice that they walk? It's so funny. This is so funny. Just think of this. You've got Mike North, who used to write for the newspaper.
Mike North, he's a good guy. He went to the Death Star.
Mike North, okay, but Mike North follows John Pedroso and the boys.
Yeah.
Okay. These guys are shadow characters.
Right.
And what I mean is, wherever you see John Swigert, you see Mr. Jensen.
Right.
Wherever you see Steve Gomes, you see Mr. Quevedo.
Right.
And it's like they're like the spin doctors for what's going on, and they're making big bucks.
Well, they had to be the spin doctors, especially after Mr. Gomes' predecessor
buddy.
We talked about, Mr. Lee Anderson, who
he came to your house while you were.
So
gone
what did Jensen say when he stood up at the city council?
Well, one of the things they talked about at the city council, they had another resolution. I mean, we've passed 15,000 resolutions for extending the spillway at Exchequer. Okay, so Jensen stood up and hey, I want to thank the council for supporting this new resolution. Here, let me give you the 411, folks, on what's going up there at Exchequer. If we raise the spillway just a few feet, we can impound another 60,000 acre feet of water. Just in 2011, we basically emptied Exchequer, filled it back up again, and emptied it out because we didn't have enough storage capacity. Now, we're in the middle of a drought. Now, the MID folks over there, and I give Mr. Jensen credit and Mr. Swigert credit for trying to get this pushed through the assembly. We've had some support with Mr. Denham, some of our other local legislators. Of course, Mr. Costa is now on board from the Democratic side of things. And we have Josh Pedroso trot Costa in here at least once every 2 months, talk about how, of course he's his buddy. But who Josh needs to bring in is Barbara Boxer, because Barbara Boxer is the one. She is the hang-up on this whole thing that is preventing the raising of Exchequer. Matter of fact, she is preventing even a study to be done on the feasibility. Why?
Yeah.
Well, why do you think? Because the Democrats don't want impoundment. They want to tear down dams, folks. They want us to live in caves. They want us to grow our food. I don't know what they want, to be honest with you. It makes no sense. And we're finally seeing some bipartisanship with Feinstein, who's on board. One half of the equation is on board, but not Barbara Boxer. So, Josh, maybe you can reach across the aisle to that Democrat and get her in here and tell us why.
Fair chance that's happening.
Why they will not.
So what did the city council do? They just supported the concept of raising the spillway, and he just wanted to say thank you?
Yeah, he just wanted to say thank you. Mike, like you say,
$100,000 say thank you.
Well, but it's frustrating, folks. We watch this water literally go past us, slip through our fingers like mercury, through our fingers out to the ocean, and we're sitting here in a drought. I don't know if you guys noticed beef, all-time high. I told you what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Everything this little Fresa con crema that I brought in today, 50 cents more.
Yep.
It's not because the Mexican market's losing money. It's because they can't afford it. Okay, you have the dollar menu.
Do it Obamacare.
You better get them 2 tacos for $1 while you can.
Yeah, everything's gone up about 20%.
It's going up. Pastrami, I was reading about a deli the other day in New York.
We are in inflationary.
Beef is at an all-time high since the 50s.
Why do you think with that the stock market has been stagnant, been dropping, coming up, because this lack of water in California needs to be really looked at, because like a friend of mine said, what the farmers should have done is the farmers should have not grown any crops. Have San Francisco, Barbara Boxer, go to the grocery store and pay $7.
Yeah, but she can afford to pay $17 a pound for beef.
It's not
She's a millionaire.
She's out of touch.
She's out of touch.
But that's the whole point. It's kind of like LA and San Francisco. Okay, we want this, we want that. They think that some little guy in the middle of the night comes in, puts together the produce, sticks it on a shelf. They don't know where it comes from.
No. But the scary dynamic to me is the boys over at MID and the city council members and the county supervisors could all get together and put together the perfect water plan.
They have.
And Barbara Boxer has the power, one individual, just to sabotage it.
And it's not so much she doesn't vote against it, she doesn't promote it. She won't let it come to a vote. She won't let a study be voted on. And this is where the partisan politics come into play to the detriment of all of our community. I'll say it again, the noblest cause is the public good, not your own personal partisan.
Way to go, Shakespeare.
Partisan politics. And this is where we have to reach across the aisle. We talked about it on the last show.
What's their agenda, though, Case?
Well, that's the whole point. Thing. What is their agenda?
What is her agenda?
They want to kill Hetch Hetchy. They want to see, Hetch Hetchy just feeds the water to
San Francisco.
Yeah. They dam that valley. They called it the Little Yosemite. Yeah. Okay, they want to return that to its natural state.
And how is San Francisco supposed to get its water?
Exactly. How are they?
That's what I'm saying.
Suck seawater.
We've got these elected public officials holding these high places of power that are clueless. They live in a fantasy world.
They do. They live in this I don't know. It's like the Hunger Games or something. I watched that recently. It's a wild story, but it's one of these just they want this utopian environment. I always like to say all energy is green. It's how much you want to pay for it, and that's what I saw when I came back across the border. You pay about a 75-cent premium here in California to be green, baby. Now I don't know how many people can afford this, but it's starting to affect our livelihoods. We're going to have farmers that are going to go out of business.
But look at the way the environmentalists want you to take away your footstep. It's hard. You can't. And that's what they want to do, and it costs, a ton of money. But if you could you go back to that youth situation that you were talking about?
What do you want to talk about?
And what I want to talk about is Kevin Blake, who's on the council, said that youth services is important in developing productive members of society because it steers young people away from gangs and other destructive behaviors by offering them things.
Right.
I thought that what Anna Pagan should have done with the $170,000 is buy bats balls and start some youth program instead of taking $170,000 from Who's the Cow.
But again, I think it's all in the way that the money's controlled. If that $170,000, if I were to bet, is not capable. You can't use those monies to buy things like bat and balls. It's earmarked for a specific purpose.
You're absolutely correct. But okay, I'm Anna Pagan, and I read this in the newspaper. Now I know. Just go to my I go to my nutritionist, and they tell me that physical activity and physical exercise is more important than your diet. It's way more important. You can go on a diet. Casey went on a diet, and he gained back double the weight. Okay, and that goes into my game I want to do before the end of the show.
Yeah.
And anyways, but what I'm saying is like Mike Belwomany, he requested an extensive analysis on what changes the city would have to do so that they could free up some money, and the findings won't be until June. But here's something Mike
who's
said.
tasked with that responsibility?
He's tasked city staff with doing that, and they have yet to do it. And they brought that up in the council meeting this week. Still waiting for that memo.
Okay, now here's the thing. Okay, that he said that it qualifies for me as a stupid does award. He says he remains optimistic that improvements in sales tax revenue. What exactly does improvements in sales tax revenue?
Didn't we hear that from the county? We're going to be in the black this year. Wrong. No.
Okay, that could mean more money for the youth.
Tax revenues are actually up 4% in the city year over year, according to Josh.
Year over year, but what are our expenses?
Well, that's another what we talked about with the.
Well, that's why I said that. I mean, the improvement, does that mean raising the sales tax? Does it mean that people are spending more money? Does it mean that we earmark different money? I mean, Mike doesn't go into. The politicians use political strange-o words. Improvements in sales tax revenue. Mike, what exactly do you mean? Yeah. I think it's a great idea. I voted for him for exactly why he's quoted in the paper.
Improvement in sales tax revenue, I would take to mean that people are spending more money in our community. Hence, the sales tax collections is going up.
Yeah, well, and
that's what I would take that to mean.
Realize, too, the sales tax rate was increased.
Yeah, and Josh said year over year we're up 4%, but he also acknowledged that we have more liabilities coming because out of the general fund we're going to have to start paying more towards CalPERS and I think just CalPERS, actually.
CalPERS, yeah. CalPERS.
To the tune of, I think he said $500,000 this year. So even if that 4% increase in sales tax year over year translates to $500,000, it's a push because there's more there's liabilities in the system that are coming due.
We're going further in the hole.
I think by 2016 or 17, he said that liability is going to grow to $2.3 million.
Well, this is what the mayor has said. We've repeated it on this show, and I'll repeat it right now. Stan Thurston said when he was running, in 60 months, we're out of money.
Yeah, it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. Folks, we're coming to the end of our second segment here on Citizen Watch on AM 1480. KYOS, the voice of the Valley since 1936.
Hold tight, and I have a really good game.
Okay, we're going to be right back, folks. Stand by.
Lord help us.
Folks, welcome to the third and final segment. I think I hit the buttons right. We had a little technical issue.
You're doing fine.
All right. We have the third and final segment of Citizen Watch on this beautiful Thursday evening, April 10th, broadcasting from Studio C. We're all together, the three amigos, the three most eligible bachelors, and well, I tell you what, walked across the window, it could make me not a bachelor anymore. But
we have to
whoa.
We have to give credit to Fitness Addiction for that.
Holy man.
All right, are you ready for my game?
They're training every female in our office.
Is that?
Yes.
Are you ready for my game?
It's been phenomenal. I got to tell you. Something. What?
Go ahead. Sorry, I've been gone.
All right. Here's what I want to do. For all our listeners, this is very, very serious. The one that guesses Casey Steed's weight the closest will get a $10 gift card from Starbucks.
You know,
hold on, via Robert Tomasetti.
Aren't you banned from Starbucks?
No, that was years ago.
That was years ago.
I'll tell you that story, folks. It's fascinating.
He talks about my belt buckle facing the ground. I just want to let you know, Robert, there's something that faces the ground. It ain't my belt buckle, okay? So you can make
it's
fun
your
of
chin.
me.
It's the third
Come
chin.
over here, I'll show you.
I see it, third chin. So here's the deal. 406, everybody call in or text 406.
I don't like this game already.
Can I offer another contest?
Yeah.
Wait.
Go ahead. Go ahead, finish it.
209 406 8728.
That's our tip line.
That's
24 hours a day.
24 hours a day. Those of you that listen, please contact. Now you got to understand. Casey is not fat by any stretch of the imagination, but he's just big. He's solid. He's wide. So Casey, how tall are you?
I'm 6'3".
He's 6'3". So with that in mind, and that he's square and solid, those people out there that are listening, you tell me or tell us what Casey's weight is, and the closest one by next Friday. Next Friday gives you a whole week and a half. Okay, well, today's Thursday. So you got Thursday and then all of next week to contact us and let us know what your guess is on Casey's weight. The one that's closest. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to ask Casey to stand on a scale. I don't want it to break.
I don't want the honor system.
It's going to be the honor system.
You get these little digs in. Now I see why Pedroza gets so upset at you.
Me? You're the one that said you were whale watching. Anyways, so if you do that, I will give whoever it is a $10 gift card to Starbucks. It will be outside. Steve, Casey, anybody at the radio station does not.
I don't know if I like this contest, folks.
I do.
What's your contest?
My contest would be, if you want to guess how many consecutive games I'm going to whoop Tomasetti's ass in racquetball.
From what day?
Before he wins a single game. I think, what am I, 10-0 right now? 11-0, 12-0? Where am I at?
No. You personally are at 4-0.
Yeah.
You personally have beaten me 4 times. You get...
Robert, that's not true.
Yes, it is, because we beat... Hold on, folks. We're going to argue here.
Every time we go into a session, I guarantee you that I will play 3 games, best of 5.
Best of 5.
And I always win those, and then you talk me into playing one more, and I whoop you on that one.
You play cutthroat.
And we've done that 2 or 3 times.
And you lost the other day to Oscar
Robert hates to lose, folks. He hates
as long as I don't lose to you,
okay,
that's all that matters. You will never beat me.
Now, I'll tell you what. You're going to 4 in a row. I've lost 4 in a row.
It's more like 12 in a row.
No,
but we'll say 4. Okay, it's consecutive. You've yet to win a game.
It's he and I.
Okay.
Now, the stipulation, folks, is Casey's not in this. Nobody else. It's Steve Colvard and I. We will sit there and we will play racquetball against each other. No cutthroat where I get the third person that sucks.
No, I'm not counting that.
All right, because you did get beat on that one.
So basically what I'm asking the listeners, pick the year in which you think Robert might have a chance to beat me.
Not pick the year.
Not pick the year.
I'll make it even. I'll bet you. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll make you a bet, a wager. Now, Josh Pedroza owes me a coffee.
That's true.
I will give you a $10 Starbucks gift card. I'll make it even better. A $20 Starbucks gift card that you don't beat me by June 3rd. That I will beat you before the end of June.
Yeah,
we play once or twice a week, folks.
Yeah, he's getting better every day. He
said years. I said June.
He bought
end of May.
I'll take that bet. I'll take any bet. You're never going to beat me.
Okay, so when I beat you,
the only chance you have to beat me is if I drop dead of a heart attack,
which is pretty safe because this guy chugs along like a steam engine.
I chug along enough to whoop you.
We'll see.
So far,
I haven't played in 6 years, but I got back. One
of the things. Let's get back to what folks want to hear about. One of the
things. They want to hear this.
They
want to hear you in high-speed rail.
I'm not going to talk about high-speed rail. I'm going to talk about community facilities districts, maintenance districts. Well, over there at Mansionette, this is the little community over there where the Lackaretti building was going to be built. Tony Dosetti, Councilman Dosetti, threw that neighborhood under the bus when he switched his vote and allowed that building to be built.
Did he have a good reason for switching his vote?
Not that I heard. He's a weather vane. But anyway, over there at the
District 3.
That's your boy too.
I like Tony.
Over there,
I like a lot of the guys. I just don't agree with a lot of their. I'd be very honest with you. Is where I'm at in my. I'm just throwing a bus to Casey over here.
Yeah.
Casey's.
Anyway, maintenance district, folks. What these are is there's a million maintenance districts here in Merced. They have to pay their own way for their street lighting, the lawn mowing, sidewalk repair, that sort of thing. Folks over there in Mansionette have been paying about $1.15 per lot. It's going to go up to $46, 4,000% increase.
Whoa, slow down. Is this like with Your homeowners association, or
no? These are just on your property tax.
It's on your property tax.
On your property tax.
Really?
And what happened over there is there's some maintenance districts, and Bowalmany, to his credit, brought up the fact that some maintenance districts have 35 years or 35 times the amount of money that it takes per year to maintain them. So they really don't need an increase. Whereas others, as Mansionette, is very in the hole.
Well, the ones that have the 35 times as much, how about a decrease?
There you go. And this is what Mr. Bowalmany, council member Bowalmany, suggested at the meeting. And I got just taking a digression here. It's really interesting to see the new council members really spreading their wings. And Michael Bowalmany is really coming up with a lot of good ideas.
Yes.
You just read one about the youth.
Oh, yeah. And I like what he did. What did I say? One of the things that he pushes is a campus parkway. And I said the reason I voted for him was because what he did with Yellow Freight, which is started in Tracy, which started the snowball effect.
Yeah. Anyway, the community facility district over there, they're looking at a really high increase in their rate, and whether or not, they're going to put it to a vote of the citizens. Now, what do you think the citizens are going to vote?
The entire citizens?
No, just the community facility.
No,
of course. And so the county or the city is going to find themselves with the funds not to do it. The citizens don't want to pay the freight.
So how are they going to get around that case?
Well, they're not. They're just not going to mow the grass over there. So you folks in Mansionette,
that can't be an option.
Wait a minute. Why can't they do like Love Merced did?
Maybe you get Tony to talk to Mr. Lackaretti, and part of the concessions they made there at the last minute to secure his vote with a gate and setbacks and more trees and, knocking a story off, all of that horse crap. Maybe he can throw a little more money into mow your yards over there. So I just found that was...
Wait.
What?
It's not mow your yard. I want to get this right because I talked to...
And I like where you're going with this. I like where you're going with this as far as the Love Merced thing.
Here's the thing. Okay, look, hey, I don't want you hanging me with all this money, so why don't we do this? The Italo Lodge does it. Every organization does it. We have a cleanup day. So Love Merced did a great job.
Right.
They do it twice a year, so why can't they have Love Mansionette and go out there? Now, what I was going to ask you was, when you say mow the lawns, you're talking about common areas.
Common areas, the green belts, that sort of thing. Yeah. It also includes where the new police station is going to go,
and
where
maybe the neighbors will get together and coordinate it themselves, rotate people, or there might be somebody in the community that says, "Hey guys, I'll take this on." I mean, are we talking a massive amount of space here? I
80 acres.
80 acres?
Yeah,
that's no big deal. You got a riding lawn.
No, we'll
donate.
That's a lot of that's a lot of space. I was thinking mediums.
No, it's 80 acres, and of course, there's a lot of houses there that aren't part of that. But it's an 80-acre parcel.
So let me ask you this too. Yeah. So like that Lackaretti property.
Yes.
Okay, who has to clean that?
The building itself, Mr. Lackaretti.
No. That area,
belts, all that.
That area that Tony waffled on that people think.
Right.
That area that's growing with weeds.
Yes.
Who has to clean that?
City. Well, actually, the property owner is responsible for it.
Okay,
because people are gonna get their notices here pretty quick from the fire department. They're going to inspect properties, and if your grass is so high, that was part of the problem with the foreclosure crisis. Is there was nobody responsible to take care of these.
Is that why you have oleanders in front of your house
so nobody can see? That's right.
But I got to tell you, I look at things like Love Merced.
Right.
Wow,
they
that was
expect
just great.
600, 1,200 show up.
Right.
I look at someone like an organization like Stone Ridge Christian High School.
Right.
They needed a football stadium.
Look what they did.
It's a beautiful facility, and they did that without the government.
All their own
money.
We
can do it as a community. We don't need the government to be our nanny.
No, we don't.
Yeah, but look at, like he said, you look at Mansionette, okay? I have a problem, and I have a bone to pick, and Casey and I go with this all the time. When I go to the Racket Club, right there on the left on Yosemite Avenue, they put in that fake grass.
Yeah.
They screwed it up. They put it in hodgepodge. It looks like a checkerboard square with a bunch of garbage, and the city signed off on it.
Well,
my attitude would be, who's the guy that did it? Come with me. You explain this to me.
This is the kind of work you do?
This is the kind of work you do? We need to talk.
Yeah.
Well, and
you're not the kind of guy we want bidding on projects in our city.
And it's what? It's part of the district,
It's part of that district. Yeah, right there. That's where the new police station is going to go.
I just think we turn to the government too often for solutions when we have the solutions right here in our community.
Yeah, we do. And, folks, we're running out of time. I just want to cover a couple more things in the city council meeting. I hadn't seen Monica Villa. She was a city council.
I thought she went with you. She said she's on vacation.
She was a city council candidate, homeless advocate, and I try to watch the council meetings online, and I hadn't seen her at the public comment section a couple of times. Well, she was there this Monday, and she goes, "I've been on vacation," and I just chuckled to myself, thinking, "Where did you go?"
Oklahoma with you, Case.
So she's pretty upset about the city is going to spend money. We've heard Councilman Murphy, talk about it. The DART team, the Disruptive Area Response Team.
Yeah.
There was a gentleman that got up in the public's comments session before Monica Villa and talked about the property at 20th and M Street, the old county probation department, and how people are pooping and crapping and urinating and defecating and setting up shop, setting up camp, leaving trash. And this gentleman is responsible for it as a property owner, and he's not getting any help from the city. He appealed to the city as an Indian gentleman.
Stop right there, real quick.
Go.
You look at property, and I was shown that one time.
Right.
And you go to Shamoyle, who owns the Travis Credit Union building, which is the white building on the right as you're heading to the college, just before Citibank on Collins Drive. That building is beautiful. That building is... I would think it would be tagged. That building is just taken care of, and there's never been an issue with it. And here's a guy downtown. No, I get so many problems. Why don't you make it look like you really care about your building and put some money in it? You've got it out there empty. Why don't you put somebody in there for something?
What do you say to that?
What do you say to that, Case?
Again, I agree. A tenant would be wonderful, and since the probation department worked out, I think what this gentleman was saying is the city comes to me, tells me to clean it up. I clean it up. The next week, it's the same thing. He goes, I need a little help from the city.
No.
From the police department.
No. Well, so that's not reasonable. It's not reasonable to expect that your city, a clean building that you leave vacant in the city is not going to be defecated and urinated on.
First of all,
that's not a reasonable expectation.
No, that's not a reasonable expectation.
So he has to put up a cyclone fence around his property?
No, what I'm saying is that there is property that is vacant in this town where property owners take it upon themselves. It's my money. That's my millions of dollars.
Right. Well, he just said that he's done that. He's cleaned the building.
He's cleaned up the trash and poop. Now, I'm not saying getting a tenant, but you can't allow transients to lay up against the side of the building during the day. That's what he's asking for help on.
Right. That's different.
Not to clean the building.
Like our problem behind the station.
Once I clean my building,
my friends own the building. My friends own the building on 21st and M.
Right.
Okay, and they had a problem. No, they had a problem because they have an alcove that they would go into, and they gave the police officers authority to check that periodically and shag those people out of there.
Right.
Because the police doesn't want to do it because it's private property.
Well, this is what this guy was talking about.
He needs to go to the police department and instead of I know he doesn't mow the lawn. He doesn't clean the windows.
I think it's like sticking your finger in a leak in a dike.
Right.
It's like you stick your finger. And the reason I say that is those poopers and peers used to be over in my neck of the woods.
Right.
And thank you to the Merced Police Department.
Used to be right here behind the police the radio station.
They've moved them along.
Right.
But they're going to move them to somewhere else, and now it's become this gentleman's problem. And I feel for him. But I will tell you, this morning on my way into work, a Merced police officer was talking to. When you come off the 99 there and you come to that stop sign, the guy 59. Sits there with his dog.
Yeah.
Used to be the guy at the one leg.
Right.
Now it's
the
a guy
heroin addict
with a dog.
Uh-huh.
And it was a very civil. I mean, as I was pulling up to the stop sign, I could see the interaction, and this police officer was very respectful.
Right.
The guy picked his stuff up and moved on.
Right.
And so I think they're trying. I really do think the city of Merced it's a tough problem. It's like sticking your finger in a dike.
Right. But I just want to...
But real quick, Case, but the problem is when you got private property and you got people laying on private property, okay, what can the city and what can the police do? Well, the problem with this gentleman's building
they can't squat on private property.
But the problem is this building is a trash hole. There are other buildings that are empty. The building across the street on N, across from Dr. Lee's office, is in repair. Boy, but there's nobody hanging out there because the people who own the building say, "Let's get you out of here."
He attributed to the proximity of Courthouse Park. They're right there at Courthouse Park. They can't pee in the park, so they walk over to his building. I agree with you, Robert. He could maybe do a little bit more, and his appeal was to the city to help him out on the other side. So, folks, we're running out of time here at Citizen Watch, and it's just really good to be back in studio and talk here on the mic and with folks. And, we got so many issues that I didn't get to. The city's being potentially sued by a group because they want to see district elections, more representation from the Hispanic community. There were some other things I wanted to talk about in regards to, what did I want to talk about? Oh, the city's going to buy a couple of houses for women, these battered women and stuff. And they're going to spend $300,000 to basically buy a one-bedroom house and a two-bedroom house. And Mayor Thurston voted against it, but we heard the same old argument. Well, it's HUD money. Don't worry about it. $300,000 to buy two houses. They don't want to disclose the location of the houses.
Somebody else will.
Somebody else will. Right. We need to have this program.
That's
They used to do the same thing out at Castle Air Force Base. Anyway, maybe we'll talk that a little bit more. We're getting into the silly season,
and
the election season.
Can I ask you a quick question just on that suing possible lawsuit from that group about the representation.
They want to go district elections.
The districts. Can you tell me exactly where the districts of the Hispanic culture is? I mean, where is that in this town?
Well, that's a good question, Steve.
Because one of the cool things about Merced, in my opinion, is we're all woven together.
We are.
No, we're not.
And we,
you don't think so?
Nope. I think that there's no representation on the south side of Highway 99.
That's where they would tell you it is. Anything south of 99, they consider 99 a brick wall. And
if you look at everybody, they all live on that side of Olive, on the north side of Olive.
Did anybody run for city council last election?
Franco dropped out
from that side of the wall, so to speak.
Well,
Carl Pollard.
They talked about Hispanic members. Ramirez ran and lost, as you know.
And Pete Padilla was in here too, wasn't he?
Pete
Padilla is not that side of town.
Right.
I am a firm believer that side of town, the black side,
so what's
the
to
African American side,
keep the people from the south side of town from putting a candidate forward and electing them?
Nothing, because they never get elected.
Why do we need to make this an issue?
This is what we're going to talk about on our next edition of Citizen Watch, because, folks, we are truly out of time.
406-8728, guess Casey's weight.
Oh, Lord. Lose. All right. Well, thanks for listening to another edition. Tune in next Tuesday, folks, and listen to all of the programming on KYOS. We'll see you later. Robert, what do we say when we
406-8728, guess Casey's weight.
I'm guessing 285.
I'm guessing 310.
Robert said his mother would amount to something. We just didn't know it'd be a pain in Steve and Art's butt.